Today I wanted to talk to you about the adjustments and maintenance on a 600F platform. And first we'll start up here with your cutter bar and the sickle. And you notice with the cutter bar we have a double and a single guard. And what these guards alternate across here, and what it helps with enhance the performance of the cutter bar. And on these hold downs, you can add more hold downs as it goes along here if you have some trouble, because what that will do, that will enhance your stability and strengthen this cutter bar up. And on your sections, we have two options. You have two long ones, or a long and a short. The two long ones are most commonly used for conventional till, and your short long is used for no till. And the reason why this is short long is to allow that corn stalk or that root that's caught in here to drop out when it comes to that short section.
Okay, down here on your knife drive gearbox, you have an adjustment down here for your cutter head of the knife to align the knife sections in the guards. What you want to do is you want to loosen this bolt up, and you want to look down and you can see the knife in between the guard, and you want the knife running approximately right in the center of the guard. Once you get it adjusted up or down to that point, you put your wrench back on here and tighten it up, and you may have to stick a pry bar or a screwdriver in here to maintain that angle when you tighten it up. But just make sure that when you get it tight, that the knife is sitting flat and right in the center of the guard. Okay, on your knife drive gearbox, you do have a grease cert right here on the end of the gearbox. It is a 200-hour grease cert, and every 200 hours you're going to want to give it about 5 pumps of grease. Okay, to adjust the auger drive chain tension, there is one bolt down here that you will have to loosen. Then up here you have two jam type nuts. You're going to want to loosen both of them, and then you adjust both nuts either up or down to either tighten the chain by pushing it down or raise it up to loosen it. Once you get that back in position where you want it, when you get the proper chain deflection, 3/8 of an inch, you're going to tighten these jam nuts back together and then tighten up your lower bolt here to hold everything back in place. Okay, to adjust the auger height on the 600F, you have a nut on the top side here that you will loosen to lower it or tighten it to raise it up. You also have a set of jam nuts underneath here, and of course if you're going to raise it up, you're going to have to loosen these jam nuts and move them down. But when you're done, you want to maintain a 5/16 inch of a gap underneath this plate to allow that auger to be able to float up and not cause any damage. Okay, your auger position fore and aft can be adjusted back here. What you have is you have a couple of nuts that you'll have to loosen and some jam nuts that you'll have to loosen, and you adjust these jam nuts either forward or back to move this piece, which will change how far your auger is forward or back. When you're done adjusting all this, of course after you tighten everything back up, you're going to want to readjust your auger drive chain, because it's also going to change the tension of that. Okay, the 600F series platforms, the drive lines only have one grease fitting. It is on the center of the drive shaft. It is greasing your telescoping fitting. I believe it's a 50-hour grease cert, and you're going to want to give it 2 or 3 pumps of grease. Both ends where there's U-joints do not have grease certs. They are a sealed U-joint and do not require any service.
I want to talk to you about the timing on your fingers. And what you want to do is you want to turn this down so you're right down there at the bottom of the floor. And what we like to see is 5/8 to 3/4 of an inch between the finger and the floor. And if you notice, when I turn this, the sickle moved. So you want to be sure not to have your hand in there or be leaning on it when you turn this. This is where you adjust that timing on your fingers. You got your 4 bolts here, you loosen that, and you turn it clockwise to extend and counterclockwise to retract. And when you get done, you want to tighten these up to 105 foot-pounds. And probably throughout the season, you know, I would kind of check these periodically to make sure they stay tight. I want to talk to you about replacing some of your fingers if you get a broken finger. And what you can do is just go to the plate that's closest to the finger and remove that plate. And then there's a clip pin in there you take out and you can replace this finger. You probably don't want to run this hole empty too long, because what will happen, dirt will get in this auger and then it can cause some vibration after a while. So I would probably carry some extra fingers in the cab with you, and then as these break you can replace them.
Okay, your reel finger pitch can be adjusted. To adjust the reel finger pitch, you're going to want to pull this lever out and move the lever forward. Is going to bring your fingers back. When you move the lever back, it's going to move your fingers forward. What that's going to do, if your fingers are forward, it's going to be a little less aggressive, but it's going to have less tendency to wrap around the reel. If you have your finger teeth back, it's going to be more aggressive, but it's going to tend to wrap around the reel a little more. So sometimes a happy median right in the middle is about the best place. Unless you have certain conditions, you might try them forward. Other conditions, you might try them back. Okay, the reel has 2 grease zerks on it, one on the left and one on the right. It is down here. It's a 50-hour grease zert, and you give it 2 to 3 pumps of grease. And that is the only grease fitting on the reel.
This is where you adjust your reel height, is right here, and what you do is loosen this jam nut and adjust your height. You want to be sure to adjust both sides equally, and then also there's a grease zert here, and that's yearly, and all it does is lube this up so this is easier to turn.
Okay, the rear stripper plates on the 600F are adjustable. You loosen your bolts up here, and what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to slide that stripper plate in till you have approximately an 1/8 inch clearance between the stripper plate and the leading edge of your flighting. You're going to want to make sure that's even all the way across there. So tighten up your bolts kind of one at a time and check that on every flight. And then when you're done, you can spin your auger to check to make sure that there's nothing rubbing. What this is going to do is this is going to help keep any crop from wrapping around this cross auger.
That concludes our maintenance adjustments for the 600F, and for more information you can consult in your operator's manual, and everything we talk about should be in there, and there's some good information for you.